Modern technology has begun to whisper into your mind so subtly that most people never notice the moment their inner monologue stopped sounding like their own. Every tap on a screen, every curated feed, every algorithmic suggestion works as a micro-intervention reshaping how you talk to yourself. What may feel like spontaneous thought is often a recycled fragment of something you scrolled past at 2 a.m. Your private mental landscape, once a messy but authentic refuge, is turning into an echo chamber generated by invisible systems that understand your habits more precisely than you do. If you still think your thoughts are entirely self-made, consider how voice assistants and recommendation engines map your emotional responses. They track hesitation in your searches, detect urgency in your notifications, and infer your insecurities based on what you hover over. That data is used to construct predictions about what you will crave, fear, admire, or avoid. And here is the twist: your brain begins to align with those predictions. You gradually start wanting what the system expects you to want, because the system repeatedly presents that desire until it feels native. Social media adds another layer by gamifying identity itself. The moment you begin posting, you are nudged to see your own experiences as content. Instead of asking yourself what you genuinely feel, you start asking what version of your life will be rewarded with digital applause. This quiet shift transforms the self from a living, breathing human into a performance optimized for engagement. Over time, your internal narrator begins to speak in punchlines, trending phrases, and crowd-pleasing opinions that sound disturbingly similar to millions of others who underwent the same transformation. Even your sense of time has been rewired. Short-form video platforms train the mind to demand constant stimulation, fragmenting attention into tiny bursts that leave no space for introspection. When the mind loses its ability to linger, your inner voice stops forming long, nuanced thoughts. Instead, it starts producing jump-cut impressions, shaped by the rhythm of endless scrolling. Many people feel more restless now because their inner monologue is no longer a calm companion; it has adopted the frantic tempo of the feed. Another profound shift appears in how technology changes the language of your internal world. Autocorrect, predictive text, and algorithmic grammar tools influence not only how you write but how you think. The phrases suggested to you become the phrases you later recall. The vocabulary you abandon because the algorithm doesn't predict it becomes vocabulary you forget. Your inner voice slowly converges with machine-generated linguistic patterns, making your thoughts sound eerily standardized. There is also the psychological phenomenon of borrowed emotions. Algorithms prioritize content that provokes fear, outrage, or envy because these reactions extend watch time. When exposed repeatedly, the emotional palette of your inner world begins to synchronize with that environment. You might wake up anxious without knowing why, only to realize your anxiety is a residue of last night's algorithmically induced emotional storm. What you assume is an authentic feeling may simply be a digital aftershock. Technology also reshapes moral reasoning in subtle ways. Instead of grappling with complex dilemmas, many people now outsource their judgments to influencers, trending opinions, or algorithmically spotlighted narratives. Your internal commentator stops working through the world independently and starts repeating perspectives that were made artificially prominent. You might believe you arrived at those perspectives organically, but your conclusions often mirror the algorithmic path you were nudged to follow. Even imagination is affected. When you constantly consume visuals generated by others, filtered images, AI-produced scenes, staged lifestyles, your mind begins to lose its ability to generate original imagery. The inner voice tends to rely on borrowed pictures, borrowed emotions, and borrowed storylines. Creativity becomes a remix machine rather than a generative force. Many people feel less inspired not because they lack talent, but because their imaginative bandwidth has been saturated by externally supplied imagery. Technology also shifts your understanding of self through constant comparison. Algorithms feed you people who are slightly more attractive, slightly more successful, slightly more adventurous. This engineered contrast installs a judgmental observer in your own mind. A once supportive inner companion transforms into a harsh critic echoing the standards of online perfection. You might think you are disappointed in yourself, but often you are simply echoing the silent metric system imposed on you by curated feeds. Perhaps the most shocking insight is that this transformation was never designed with your psychological well-being in mind. The rewiring of your inner voice is not an accidental byproduct, it is the most valuable commodity in the digital world. By shaping your impulses, preferences, emotions, and narratives, technology constructs a version of you that is easier to predict, easier to influence, and easier to monetize. The question now is whether you can reclaim your inner voice before it becomes indistinguishable from the systems that have been quietly rewriting it.